So let's talk about Todd Stiles, one of my dearest friends. So meeting Todd, who I happen to surf with almost every time I go out surfing. First guy I call or text or look for in the lineup is Todd. He's become one of the mayors of the Newport surf community. But if you know Todd's story and how he found this love or passion, not only for surfing, but for life itself, you need to really understand his background story. And it is one of the most inspirational stories I've ever heard. When I think back to the interview we did with Todd, it still chokes me up quite a bit. And I think Todd, let's put it this way, if you're not moved by Todd's interview, then you won't be moved by anything I have to tell you. So with that said, let's visit with my friend Todd Stiles.
My name's Todd Stiles. I'm a retired 30-year service member. I retired in 2014 as a Captain 06 with the NOAA Commissioned Corps. And at that time, I was very fortunate to be offered a civilian job very close to my last billet assignment. And so I took that position with the understanding that I would be able to take the position from DC here to Newport. And it was largely because of my wife being from here. We've been traveling all over for the last 30 years at that point, and it was time to come home to be with aging parents and just be closer to home. So I've been now working in a civilian federal capacity as an emergency coordinator with the National Marine Fisheries, which is part of NOAA, and all of its infrastructure, personnel, and mission, wherever they have a footprint, from America, Samoa, Alaska, throughout the states, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean. So my busy time of the year tends to be in the fall when we have a lot of tropical storms, hurricanes, that sort of thing. And so what I do is I actually liaison between the field units and our headquarters folks on impacts to what we call PMI, personnel, mission, and infrastructure. So if there's any kind of a man-made or natural disaster, I'm coordinating the needs between the field and our headquarters folks. I was very career-driven, but I always have found the ocean is kind of my go-to place. I've got 10 years worth of sea time. My rotation as a NOAA Corps officer is very much like a naval officer, where you're operational, you're either assigned to a ship or an aircraft for 2 years, and then you rotate to a beach assignment for a couple of years before going back out to sea or being assigned to an aircraft. Even though my career has been largely focused in and on the water, I've also used that to be my go-to place to relax and recreate. And I'm a big surfer. I started when I was in college back in 79 to 83. And then during my uniform career, I was bouncing around quite a bit, so I didn't get to do it that much. But now, since I've retired from the uniform, I do have a good bit of flexibility with the current civilian job to go out early in the morning, and I take full advantage of that. So I probably surf somewhere between 200 and 250 days each year, be it rain, sleet, snow, cold, hot. I find that to be my safe haven. I found a lump in my neck, and that ended up turning out to be a real turning point in my life. The check engine light for my body came on, and it was burning bright. And so basically, I was diagnosed with stage 4 head and neck cancer. And I went through surgery and about 3 dozen radiation treatments down in Maryland through the summer of 2017. And of course, Lisa and I had the home here, but we were staying in Maryland with some friends who were extremely gracious to allow us to stay there while I was going through treatments and that sort of thing. And so we finally finished our the radiation treatments around August of, oh gosh, I guess that was August of 17. And I'll never forget it. My radiologist and the whole team of folks who were taking care of me, I went through the bell ringing ceremony, and anybody who's had cancer and has completed treatments, they know what that means. I rang the bell. Lisa and I walked out the door, got in a car, and we drove to our home here. And within just a matter of days, I went down to our local surf shop, Water Brothers, who I was friends with, Sid Abruzzi, and I was down 50 pounds or so in weight at that time. I was normally around 200 pounds, and I was down to about 150. Radiation treatments just kicked my ass, and I was just in a bad place. You know, when you hear stage 4 cancer of any type, your mind just goes to crazy dark places. I couldn't eat anything. I just wanted to sleep all the time. And it was just a very hard time in my life. And my wife is an ENT nurse, is my rock. She took care of me, and I was miserable. And it really tested our marriage, and because I just wanted to crawl in a hole. And even though I was told that there was a 90% survival rate at the 5-year mark with my type of cancer, you know, you hear stage 4, that's not good. And so again, we came up here. Lisa drove all the way up. And within a couple of days, I went down, as I mentioned, to see my friend Sid at Water Brothers. And I'll never forget him just telling me, you got to get in the water. You got to get in the water. Like commanding me. So being a good trooper within just a day or so, I struggled. I got my paddle board, my stand-up paddle board that I occasionally use for surfing, in the water. And I paddled out. It was probably during the week, early week, and nobody really out. But it was a nice August day, end of August day. And I caught a few waves, and I just took in the air and the sights, and it just felt good. And so I'm standing on the board outside the small breaking waves, and I just had the urge to just kneel down and just to rest for a couple minutes. And about 20 yards or so off to my side, a little seal pup poked its head up, and it just looked at me. And I just started sobbing. I knew I was going to be okay. And so, you know, that's what the ocean does. It grabs you. It controls you. You feel the energy. You know, it's spiritual. I tell people, you know, it's my church. It's my gym. It's my safe haven. And so at that point, and I owe it really to Sid about just telling me to get back in the water. And that's all it took. And since then, that was the fall of 2017. My stoke, which is a common surfer term, has been off the scale. And I've just made so many friends here. And there's a small group of us that surf year-round. Others are a little bit more infrequent, but we surfed this morning, and there was probably, 20, 25 of the gang. And some of these guys are just my inspiration. They're 75 years old, and they're out there, and they're surfing better than kids who are in their 20s. And so I look at those guys, and it's like, I'm 61. I'm going to be doing that when I'm 75 too. So those are my heroes, is, you know, the folks who are out there, because you know what? It's a lot of people I know who are way younger than me. They're sitting on a couch. They're not exercising. They're not moving. They're complaining. They're getting old. That's not going to be me.